are joined today by a very, very superb special guest. We've been trying to get her for a while, so this is definitely a big treat for us. Mm-hmm. She has been gracing the New Jersey Weedman's Joint Late Night Hump before.
Yeah.
And we've seen her a bunch of times now, I think. And she is hilarious. Give it up for Monique Latise.
Hey! Hey, everybody!
Welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, there's a nice rhythm to your voice, like, or just your voice and like your name and like.
Really?
Yeah,
I think my voice is so deep. It's like Monique Latise. I feel like I sound like a man. Do I sound like a man?
I don't think so.
No. It's definitely sultry.
Yeah.
Like it's definitely
And people recognize my voice. Like people cannot see my face and say, "Oh, I hear your voice."
But that's a good thing, right?
Guess,
You got a signature. Yeah.
I don't like listening to my name, my voice. I'm like la 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 la.
Do you like watching yourself? Do you ever watch?
You know what? That's a good question. When I first started doing comedy, I could not. It took me years to even watch a video. People used to tell me this all the time. Watch your videos so you can get better, and I could never get through it. I'll see it and be like, oh no. But you know, I've been doing this 11 years, so now I kind of like videos. Like it took me a while, and I'm glad because now we're in an age of like videos. So.
Yeah, for sure. But before we dive in,
I was actually gonna comment on your internet persona or presence a little bit.
Yes.
You seem like you're somebody who's on your money game a little bit. It seems like you know a little bit about money and finance a little bit. Was that an accurate depiction of you a little bit?
Yes, it is. I've been in finance, but this is my 26th year at my job. I work at a credit union. Mm-hmm.
That is awesome because your challenge today that's just going to go on in the background. You don't have to stress too much about it during the day. It's
Bring it on!
All right!
You can interrupt whatever, but...
I immediately hear posture.
Game on!
Yes.
You just have to see how many banks you can name. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, as many banks.
Yeah.
Wells Fargo, Chase, Valley National, Spencer, North Jersey Federal Credit Union, which I work. So if you want to join, it's only $5 to join.
Yes.
You can contact me.
Plug.
You can contact me at mscott@njfcu.org, and I'll take care of all of your financial needs. Navy Federal Credit Union, Garden State Federal Credit Union. Did I say Chase?
You just said Chase.
Yeah,
Chase is actually one of the early ones because like
Yeah.
Chase is kind of like one of the big players, right?
Yes, and then there's another one online that's bomb. Orange Bank. It's supposedly like the best one for like savings, high interest rate.
Yeah.
I don't trust online banking where there's no branches. Like I don't trust it.
Yeah. Because it feels not real, right? Like it feels like you need to get a
I
physical
want to walk
building.
in and see my money.
Yes.
Like I want to walk in and see my money. Period.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Especially because like everything is already so digital as it is, and like money is like especially digital.
Right.
You know, and it's like
Yeah.
things have value that like don't feel like they're things that you could actually ever own or hold in your possession. It's weird.
Right.
Bank robberies are gonna be obsolete.
Right. Yeah.
Yes, they are. That's a good point.
Where all the vaults at?
During the pandemic, I bought some stock. Only $10 though. Bought some stock on Cash App. And I was like, it was $10, but now I have $16, you know, with my stock. So, you know, I'm coming out of the closet slowly, but I'm still not, I like to see and have it reachable.
Yeah.
Yes, the stocks were weird because they were at sky highs, so... Like, everybody wanted to get in because they were at sky highs, but now they're not at those.
But they're coming
highs.
back
They're coming
up.
back up.
They're coming back up. Like,
So it's
Disney's
like,
doing well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But it kind of is, how big could it get in general? I guess it does just get bigger and bigger forever. Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah. It's more and more expensive.
There's just more and more money.
Yeah.
But it's people that believe in stuff. Like, they believe, they trust it, they believe it. I'm always like,
Yeah.
I want money I can touch. Like, why would I buy stocks and can't get to it? It makes no sense.
Yeah. It's like, I guess it's a promise that like by getting these things that are not money, someday you can translate it into actual money. It'll just be a long time.
I may die by then. Like,
Yeah.
let's spend it now.
Yeah.
That's my big thing though, is I definitely will spend it if I don't buy like cheap ass stocks, and then I kind of just hope the stocks go up over the years.
Do you have stocks?
Yeah, I do stocks a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, nah, I was getting worried about my future. I know.
Okay.
Didn't really have any savings or equity, so I was like,
Invest
I'm gonna start
Yeah,
using
it's
Robinhood long term,
especially
so
life
that I don't
insurance.
lose it.
Yeah.
Right.
And like, if you go long term, it's less risky. I think. A little bit less risky because you don't take out if it's a catastrophic event. You just wait until the catastrophic event is over.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at with my stock investing is I'm putting it all in for a house, and if there's a collapse around the time of housing, then I'll save it until my children exist, and then maybe I'll put it into their college.
Okay, you got a whole plan.
Long-term plan.
That's in your future.
I love it.
Yeah.
Unless it pops early, then I'll make a movie.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Speaking of future, we also want to get the plugs for our wonderful guests right in the beginning. So Monique, before we find out more about your life and who you are and what you're doing, what you're thinking about, do you have anything you want to plug that's coming up soon that people could be like, oh, this woman's impressed me already. I want to go see her immediately.
Absolutely. I have my big annual birthday party coming up.
Ooh.
I'm a big birthday person. I'm a Leo, and Leos like to party. So on July 31st, I'm going back to the original place that I used to do my comedy shows in Paterson. I'm from Paterson, and I'm having a big birthday comedy show. And I'm excited about it because I wasn't going to do it. I didn't really have a big one last year. I had a small one. So I was kind of like, the pandemic. Do I really want to, do the show? But I am, and I have tickets available. Tickets are $20 today only. Well, this week, buy one get one free.
Nice.
So that's what's coming up. July 30th at the Masonic Temple in Paterson.
Cool.
The Monique Latise Big Birthday Bash.
Damn.
That name.
Yeah. Birthdays are amazing. Shows are amazing. It's all amazing.
Yeah.
Good.
We also have a show coming up this Friday. If you guys are in New York City and you're like, what am I going to get drunk to this weekend? What am I going to smoke weed to this weekend? What am I going to trip shrooms and walk up the stairs to this weekend? Come to our Players Theater show. If you use the code HUMP, you get half-price tickets.
Oh, wow.
You can find that at latenighthump.com/shows to get tickets. Check it out. We're doing the Interdimensional,
Yes.
which we had a pretty good show on Friday in Bushwick at Cocoon.
Sponsored by the Tiny Cupboard.
Yeah,
in New York City. That was fun.
Yeah.
You guys are rocking out.
Yeah. Guys, we're just doing comedy with discounts and good offers. So we're the Walmart of comedy, except we don't treat our workers bad, and we don't wear blue vests. Also, okay, you won't get either of those things from our shows, but you'll get everything else and more that you want from us.
And I love Walmart. That's my store.
Yeah. It's hard to deny. It's when you have good deals, it's just hard to not get good stuff. So, Monique, do you have a favorite? You're saying you love birthdays. Do you have a favorite birthday that sticks out to you that you remember that was just the ultimate of all birthdays?
My first birthday, I remember it.
Really?
I do.
Damn.
Wow.
Well, I don't know if it was my first or my second. Maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit. Comedians, we exaggerate.
It was my half birthday.
But I was young, and I remember walking around, and I remember just waving to everyone. And I had on this beautiful blue dress. And I remember, through the years, my grandmother would tell me, you were the princess at your party. So it resonated in my brain. Even though I don't really truly remember everything about it, I remember that day, being the princess. So yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Special.
Yeah, that's kind of the sole desire of all people whose birthdays it is, right? If you enjoy your birthday, it's you want to be the royalty for the day.
No one has to plan anything for me. You don't have to give me a surprise birthday party because I'll give my own surprise birthday party. I am a big. And sometimes I feel bad for my children because they're like, "Mom, my birthday's coming up before yours, but I'm already planning my party, my getaway, and I don't have any siblings, so it's just me, on my mom's side. So I plan everything."
So how was that growing up as an only child? Not life any different. But.
Yeah, that's where I got creative. Music was my life. That's where I learned how to dance, being in the room by myself. That's where I really developed my love for the arts. I had no one to play with.
Yeah.
So I used to be in the mirror go girl,
Yeah.
go girl, and
There are places in Paterson specifically, clubs you would go to at a young age?
I was always on punishment. I didn't do good in school. I didn't do good in school, so my mother wouldn't let me go anywhere. I always had to sneak out, or it was a once in a while thing. But believe what I tell you, if I was there, I set it off. I never forget, I was about 14 years old. There was a big concert at the stadium in Paterson. It was Big Daddy Kane, Eric B. and Rakim, Biz Markie. like all the great hip hops back in the 80s. They were at the concert, and I was walking around like, I wish I knew someone. I want to get on stage. Like, I felt like I needed to be on stage because I was a rapper. I used to rap. So I was walking around like, oh my God, they're gonna call my name. They're gonna say, Monique, come to the stage, and I was ready. I was ready. And people were like, I was waving to people like I was a star. Like, hey. And they never called my name. And I promised myself that one day I was going to get on stage. They were going to call my name, and I was going to get on stage. So that's where it started.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, you rapped?
I did. I mean, I wasn't good, but I always had that
Yeah.
My lyrics wasn't the best because I really struggled in school, like really struggled. So I didn't have all the big words and the definitions and all of that, but I always loved to entertain. So I'll just come up with something and just like dance moves and then a little bit of rap and then,
Yeah, no, you're purely a creative, artistic individual.
And it started back when I was young. Yeah.
But yeah, it's got to start somewhere.
Yep.
That's where it pulls from. What about
But I wasn't a funny person, though. That's the thing.
So where did the humor come from?
I was not the funny person. Sometimes I feel bad. Other people come to me and they're like, I'm funny. I make everyone laugh. I want to be a comedian. And I'm like, no, comedy is not always about the funny. For me.
Yeah.
No, that's
and
true.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
I
for
agree
me,
with that,
it was a way of life for me. It wasn't about me being funny because I really thought I was kind of like Blue. Like, I'm kind of like, I went through a lot of depression. Once I started having kids, got married, I went through a divorce, had some issues with my son, my parents. My mother was a teenage mom when she had me, raised without my father, grew up in Paterson. Like, so I had a really rough, emotionally rough life. Yeah. So by the time I got called to comedy, because I call it a calling, I was shocked because I kind of gave up on my hopes as being an entertainer. And I just kind of like, well, why would I get on stage and tell my business? Like, who does that? But it dropped in my blood. Like, I couldn't shake it. I would wake up in the middle of the night thinking about me being on stage. It was like that little 14-year-old girl was walking around. The day someone called me and said, hey, I'm doing a show. I love hearing you talk at the barbershop. Because one of the guys that I go to the barbershop with, he was like, I'm putting on a show and I want you to be in the show. And I'm like, for what? He's like, you're funny when you talk. I'm like, no, I'm not. He's like, trust me, you are. And I agonized about it. I was like, why is he asking me that? I was like, oh my God. And but I could not shake it. Yeah. Like, it was like I fell in love and I didn't want to. I was like, I don't want to do comedy. I want to be a rapper. Like, I want to produce music. If I'm going to be on stage, I want to be like a Latifah, Queen Latifah or something, an actress. I didn't want to do stand-up. I didn't know any stand-up comedians. Never really been to I think I went to like 1 or 2 stand-up comedy shows. So I was like really upset, like that he even brought that to my attention. Yeah.
Damn.
I'm insulted.
Yeah. But I couldn't shake it though.
Yeah.
So and then what happened was I started asking people, you think I could be a comedian? You think I could be? And they were like, hell yeah. And I was like, this some bullshit.
You were forced into it.
Yeah. And then I'll never forget one day my daughter came to me. And she was like, it was the first day of school, and it was her sophomore year in school. She said to me, she says, Mom, man. She was like, why don't you just follow your dream? And I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, I see how you look at other people on television. I see how you always getting us together and thinking of creative ways to entertain us. Why don't you follow your dream? I know you really want to do that comedy. Yeah. I see it. And I just started crying, like, I do? And I was like, oh my God, maybe I do. So she found a comedy club for me. My 15-year-old daughter found pianos in Bloomfield. Yeah. Oh, wow. They did an open mic. And I went there one Wednesday night. It was the second day of school for her. And I walked in and I remember like, what the fuck am I doing? And people were there, they were ready, they were drinking and signing their names up for the comedian. And I'm like, what the? And I didn't know anything about how to sign up, who to go to, what to say. It was 2 women at the bar. I walked in and I was like, yo, I'm getting ready to do stand-up. And they were like, ah! And they ordered me a Long Island iced tea. They was like, do that shit, girl. I'm like, I was so mad. I was like, what the fuck is happening to me? So I wrote my name and I wrote it at the bottom of the list. I'll never forget. I didn't know that was the fucking headliner. I wrote my name at the bottom of the list. Because I was like, I'm going last.
Yeah.
So all the other comedians, it was about 20 comedians, they were all going up. And I was like, I can do this. Every time a comedian would go up, I was like, I think I could do that. No one made me feel like, damn, how he do that? And there was no women. I was the only female out there. And I was like, nah, I gotta represent.
Yes.
I gotta represent.
Yes.
So they got to me. And I was by myself. The ladies were at the bar. And I got on stage. And the first thing I said, I was like, hi, everyone. I was like, my name is Monique, and I'm fat. People fell the fuck out. They were on the floor crying. Because I didn't know what else to say. They started laughing.
Oh, my gosh.
And I was like, oh, shit. I was like, and I eat a lot. They started crying. They were laughing. Oh, I love McDonald's. And then they just started. So I'm like, this. So anyway, after that, they were like, you are amazing. So I was like, I am? I was so confused.
Did it just feel like a therapy session?
No, it felt like a setup. I was like, this gotta be a setup. I was like, this is not normal.
I see
So anyway, I said, I'm gonna come back the next day. Because I know that was strange how they were reacting. Like, they were going crazy. They want to hug me after the show.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh my God, where can we find you? Where can we follow you? And I was like, really? So I brought my daughter because I was like, listen, I need you to watch the crowd while I'm up there. Because I know what I felt. I want to make sure I'm not bugging. So she's like, I got you, Mom. Go ahead. So she came with me the next day, got on stage, and they went crazy again. And my daughter was like, Mom, I think you got it. I was like, I do? I was shocked. I was like, I do. And I'm going to be honest with you. I would not let anyone see me do comedy for years. People would want to come and support me, and I lie, I get mad. I didn't feel like I was good enough. Like, I felt like, it was weird because somehow things were opening up for me.
Yeah.
But I just felt like, nah, this can't be.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my story. I have another story, but I'll wait to tell it because it's crazy.
No. It's hard to get over that hump, though, because it's so easy to, tell yourself that, it's like, no, that's not going to happen to me. Especially when you, like you said, when you see other people, other people on TV or movies, and you're like, no, but they're, like, celebrities. And then it starts, happening for you, and you have to accept, sometimes good things happen to...
And then people started treating me like I was a celebrity. That was weird. Like, I'll be in a supermarket, and people be like, oh! And I'm like, what? You're the comedian. I'm like, yeah. They're like, oh my God, we saw your video, we love you. And I'm like, thank you. And I'm always like, you sure it was me, right?
Yeah.
And that was probably the most difficult part, realizing that people think comedians are like little mini gods. Like, you can say that you sing, you can say that you dance. For some reason, I feel like when you tell people that you're a comedian,
they
lose
love
it.
You on a pedestal, yeah.
And I still don't understand it.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of just going with the flow.
You speak the good word. You're the prophet, or the opposite of a prophet. They feel like prophets if they talk to you.
I guess. I guess.
Well, you're very honest on stage. Would you agree?
Yeah.
What is the... Ooh, that's... Sorry,
that's our
thunder.
high-tech special effect that we inserted into this episode.
I love it.
For some ASMR.
The Haunted Mansion on the podcast.
Right. Thank you, PA, for setting that up for us. We appreciate your horrific tone.
Where do you find the blend between being, keeping your private life to yourself versus how much do you divulge on stage?
So much stuff has happened in my personal life, and I had to figure out a way to manage it. And I remember the first day I said to a crowd that my son was being sentenced to a prison term. And up until that point, I was very embarrassed. I didn't want people to know I was a prison mom. But when I said it, I felt such a relief. And then people started going crazy over it. Oh my God, Me Too. The Me Too movement was real. Me Too, Me Too. Yeah. And I was like, wow. And then the people started inboxing me, thank you for sharing your story. And I'm like, okay, maybe. So I just started, opening up about it. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to take what hurts me and turn it into funny stories. And that's what I learned to do. Yeah. And that's how I was able to cope. So to some people, it may seem like she doesn't really care, she's on stage talking about this or that. But it's not that. That's the way I cope.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's the formula. That's common. That's definitely common over, a lot of people who just everybody has baggage. Everybody has shit in their lives. And it's not like comparative. It's not like, because people are all dealing through different circumstances. But when you do see somebody who is able to open up information like that, just for me, it's like personally, somebody watching that, you're just like, oh wow, okay, I'm not the only person. Yeah. Like, I'm not alone. Not specific things to your situation, I'm just saying in general, when people are like, yeah, wow, okay, this person is also processing this. I'm also processing this. Like, we're like, it feels good. It is like definitely cathartic in a sense. Because I like talk a lot about my parents and like, generational trauma. That's like that's the fun one, the big one. Everybody talks about like, who am I? Where did I come from? And how did I get here? So for you to do like the same thing, it's empowering. It's very. It's also, because you mentioned before, there are not, especially in this area, I'll say the East Coast, we're close from Rutherford, right next to New York City and everything, but even in Jersey, growing up, I didn't see, anytime going to shows with my parents, I didn't see a lot of female comics. Yeah. No way. And also, you see a lot of white straight guy comics. I'm just going to put it out, we know that.
And a lot of people don't think that women are funny.
Yes.
So it was important for me to, when I step on the stage, to clear all of that misconception up. Yeah.
Because you brought a new support system. Because honestly, people would be definitely not supportive when women would go up there on stage. Right. Or it'd be bitchy. It'd be kind of like there'd be some sort of like attitude, cold shoulder, like. Mm-hmm.
And we talk about a lot of the same things. I feel like a lot of women talk about, we always talk about sex and penises and this and this and that. So I wanted to bring, I felt like, and then there was this thing about stealing jokes. So I wanted to be able to talk about my life, so no one could ever come to me and say you stole a joke.
Yes. Yeah.
So my son is in prison. My situation is this. I went through a divorce. That's my story. So no one can ever come to me and say, hey, you bit my joke.
Yeah, you need to. Yeah.
So that's important to me.
Yeah, it's also better in general because then you're not having to people who steal other people's jokes, they're trying to take their experience and then make it their own. It's like if you're just talking about your own self and your own experiences, then half the work is already done for you. It's just find the funny of what you already go through anyway.
And I don't think it's all malicious. I have my own thoughts on joke stealing. I know people who have never seen each other's material, but they talk about the same topic. And then one person is like, oh my God, you stole my joke. I'm a plus size woman. Another plus size woman is doing a joke about irritable bowel syndrome. Does not mean you stole my joke. Yeah. We both have fucking irritable bowel syndrome. Yeah. So I have issues with that. But I know that's a big thing in the comedy community, joke stealing and, that's the biggest crime and I get it. But I don't think it's always what it appears to be.
I think it's tough because, you're at some of these mics, especially when you're starting out and when you're in the heat of it, there's 40 people on some of these mics. There's 30 people on some of these mics, and you're hearing their entire sets if you're being polite, And, you don't even remember half of the shit you hear because you've sat through so many open mics in your lifetime, You've heard so many, half-assed jokes in your life because you've been through so many open mics. I've been doing it, 9 years. So it's I've been through so many open mics, different times in different places, and sometimes I have to trash jokes because I'm just is this something that I got from somewhere else? It feels like it's not something I came up with. As I'm telling it, sometimes I'm just this is too good to be something I came up with.
Oh my God!
Sometimes I'm no, I feel weird. Also, I don't know if it's just because I'm new to Jersey, but sometimes I feel people give me the eye, and I'm oh shit, am I saying a joke that I'm accidentally stealing and don't realize it? Yeah. And I'm maybe it's not creative enough for people to be I'm from Warwick, New York.
Okay.
Originally, and then I went to school in New Orleans, so I did stand up for 4 years down there.
Okay, NOLA. Okay.
Yeah, no, I liked it down there. We can definitely talk later if you want. Like,
yeah,
to go down there at some point.
Yeah,
if you don't know people down there.
Yeah. Don't.
Yeah, no, I could definitely hook you up with some people for sure. We're going down in August.
We are.
When? Sure. Oh, well, we'll talk about that later.
Oh yeah.
Monique, what do you think about the Jersey comedy scene in general? Just from like, I'm sure you've been around a lot. You've
I was
done
gonna
a lot
ask,
of the mics. Like, what are your overall feelings?
Well, my journey's a little different. I don't even know if it's fortunately or unfortunately, I didn't go to a lot of open mics, because I kind of was getting booked from the jump.
Nice, good.
But I kind of feel like I missed out with the open mics. I feel like I didn't get a chance to go to New York enough to meet and network with more comics, and that is a disadvantage, because I get booked so much on the private gigs that I don't get a chance to work out stuff as much as I would like. Because on my days off, I'm like exhausted because I have a 9 to 5 that's very aggressive. So, it's like on my days, I could, like this weekend I did 4 shows. Wow. Yesterday I was like on my couch like all day.
Yeah.
I should have been in New York, at some comedy club, but I was tired.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but you have to allow yourself to decompress.
I do, but I just wish that I wish that I had more networking done in the comedy game.
Yeah.
How was it virtually for you when the pandemic happened? You had to do because that was where more people were actually mingling online. Yeah,
network. The pandemic was interesting because I remember when I first was asked to do a virtual comedy show. I was like, why? How? Because I'm such a animated and aggressive in your face type comedian. I'm like, how do I translate that
through
on
screen?
Zoom?
Yeah.
But it took me a minute. I'm gonna be honest with you. It took me a minute. But my comedy club, I owned a comedy club during the pandemic. I opened it up 6 weeks before the pandemic. I was actually pushing that heavy during the pandemic. So a lot of my strength was just to try to push that. So I was pushing through the Zooms and pushing through this because I wanted to keep my name and the club name, some juice pumping into the world about it. But I wasn't able to keep the club open. And, the Zooms were good. I picked up some momentum and it was good, but I'm a live person.
Yeah.
I totally get that.
Yeah,
I get it. So, are you ever going to circle back to the club?
I don't want to. I don't want to. I'm sweating bullets. I don't want to.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
You know what?
Yeah.
I'm a comedian at heart. I love stand up. I love being on stage. I love sharing my story. I love having a platform. And because I always had my own room, I thought it would be a great idea to run my own club.
Yeah.
But it's such a big difference.
Yeah.
It's such a big difference. And if I had stayed, let's say I was able to get $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 during the pandemic because of the pandemic, and I had to stay there and not be able to do what I'm doing now, I don't know if I would be happy.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a blessing in disguise.
I think I was
get on the road a little bit.
Yeah.
I think I was supposed to have the grand opening. It was 600 people at my grand opening.
Wow, congratulations, that's dope.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think I was supposed to get the proclamation from my city as the first African American woman to open up her own comedy club.
Yeah, it's huge.
I have my award. It's in my house, and I think I was supposed to do it, but it was only for the pandemic.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm back on the road, and I love it. Like I'm ready to take off. Be honest with you.
What has been one of your favorite tours?
I never really been on a tour.
So where have you gone on the road?
Oh
yeah, how far have you gone actually? How?
Well, let's see. I performed in Mexico. I was there on vacation, and of course I was like, I'm a comedian.
I love that.
I went on a cruise, and I was like, I'm a comedian, so I was able to do the karaoke night. The furthest I've been is California. But I have sort of an issue with comedy because I get booked so much with private gigs. I don't get to network. So I never get the plug to be able to get out of the state as much as I want to.
I see.
You know what I'm saying? It's like I feel like I'm going in a rat race.
Yeah.
Like just from one show, like I was driving all up and down Jersey this weekend. They were good. Private gigs paid good. They paid better to me than some of the little clubs and all that kind of stuff. But it's like, how do you get to some of the clubs? How do you get to North Carolina, South Carolina, the Laugh Factory? Like, I've been those places, but really on my own. Like, maybe I entered a contest. I won a contest in LA, and nothing came. You know, like, I'm just trying to figure out how to level off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Just like, it seems like everybody just has their quote-unquote break from different things, and it's really just being good all the time, which it seems like you are good all the time. So, like, whatever you're looking for will come, you know?
At a private gig, though?
Like, the private gig is just subliminal messaging. Like, there's gonna be people, like, after, like, as many years as you've been doing private gigs now, like, you have shown your face to so many people, and they're always going to remember, like, that personal touch that you were at that party, you were at that thing, you know? And, like, I was curious about that, because, like, I was noticing that you're, like, more of a Paterson, like, local comedian and more of a localized
And that's
comedian.
never what I wanted to be.
But, like, that's how you get good, also, is just, like,
I heard
playing
that.
a lot of... Like, that's why you're good, is because you could do your private gigs, and, like, you have to put on a show. Because if you can't put on a show and you're in a private gig,
You know
you're never
what?
getting hired again.
That's the truth.
True.
You know what? I have to agree with you, because I can do up to an hour and a half.
Yeah, many people
See,
can
like,
do,
we're putting
Monique.
that out. There's a lot of comedians who listen to this. Monique Latise, get her headlining up somewhere. Like, she doesn't... She can do
Monique
an
has
hour.
skill.
A
You know you have
strong
skill.
hour and a half. But, you know, I'm glad you said that, because sometimes I'm hard on myself. Sometimes I'm like, girl, why aren't you out at the open mic in New York? Why aren't you here? Why aren't you there? And I'm like, you know, and I thank God for the people that books me for their private gigs. I did a graduation party this weekend. I did a birthday party this weekend. I did a 4th of July party this weekend. And they were all, like, at mansions, pools. Like, it was the bomb.
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, my town is so good to me. Paterson, they support me. You know, it's a great feeling to be. And someone told me this. If you can master your city, then you can go anywhere. So that, you know, it's a good feeling to know that I have the love and support from my city. And don't get me wrong, it took me years to start writing material. It took me years. I didn't really start writing material, and even though I'm not really a writer, but I'm to the point where, all right, this works. I'm gonna write it down and you know, repeat it, and because you know you have to repeat things over and over again to make it stick.
Yeah.
It took, because the first 6 years of me doing comedy, I was on stage just talking crazy, and then I remember the day it switched. And someone came to me. They said, "You've grown," and that was probably the biggest compliment in comedy that I've ever heard. For someone to say that I've grown, I was like, I made it.
Yeah.
Do you, is your writing process more structured?
It is. You know, I will throw something out and I would, you know, test it out and just keep working on it. Keep working on jokes, and I will write it down, try to structure it. But I'm gonna be honest, I'm more of a spontaneous person. I'm more of a sometimes you gotta tweak it live.
Yeah.
And that's why I wish I did more open mics so I can work on those things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if you getting booked at a private event and you're trying out new material and it don't go right, it's like wah.
Yeah.
So I wish I had more
That's like a
space to really work out. Like I'm working on some new jokes right now, and I have all pay gigs coming up, and it's like, oh, I would hate to cheat them. But I want these jokes to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why you gotta come to Weedman's. I mean, you've been there already, but just keep
Actually, we had a lot of fun.
She actually she had Weedman's blessing. Yeah, she had
I have to come
the
back.
sign of approval from NJ Weedman.
I have to come back. That's a Wednesday night, right?
Yeah.
Tomorrow night?
Yeah, also I'll get you on a radio show too.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll talk after this. Yeah.
Okay, that was actually a good.
Somebody else
Networking is happening right here.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
He's the Jersey plug.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
That was a good spot in Trenton, yeah.
Yeah.
But that is definitely
stuff,
a fun spot to it's because it is very exciting also too when you watch a comedian and you kind of know that they're discovering new land as they're like doing.
Do you feel like we're hard on each other though?
Comedians?
I think so.
Oh yeah, no,
Oh, yes.
I hate
Yes,
going.
yeah.
That's like the worst part about going to I'll go to an open
hard.
mic to try new stuff, and it's just like the cold shoulder.
I think because we don't laugh at each other. We just stare,
Right.
wait for our turn.
It's dead silence in that room. It's not. So that's what I'm saying. It's not. That's like it doesn't seem supportive that way. Like it's not. I wish that would shift. I wish that would change.
But that's why I opened up my club. Like I love comedy, so I love to see people kill it. I love to see people, like stay in your own lane. Use what works for you. No matter what, if you're kooky, if you're strange, use that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I love comedy. I'm a big fan. Even if I wasn't doing comedy, I would probably want to be promoting or managing.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So who are your comedy influences?
Oh, that's a good question. One of my comedy influences is no longer in the game right now. She's really sick. Her name is Roz G. She's from New Jersey. She was huge when I first got to comedy. Then she got sick. But I watched like her old tapes. I'm a big Carol Burnett fan. Nice. I love Carol Burnett. I love that whole goofy shit. I love that shit. Who else do I love? I love Kevin Hart's business concepts. Like I want to rule this game. Like I want to have a stadium. Like every show that I produce, I want people to come out and just get wild away. So like I get when he, does the Madison Square Garden and wants to be the rock star of comedy. Like I can see myself pushing for that. So I love the way he handled his business. And
you are an arena comic.
Huh?
You are an arena comic.
Oh, thank you.
For sure.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. You guys heard that?
It is so your personality too. It's like there's a lot that's the thing. Like you can be funny, you have whatever talent, but like also the character of the person. Like you gotta have all these things.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'll be honest with you. I love to perform. I do. It does something to me. Like all of my childhood fears of not doing good in school, being raised without my dad, coming from a very tough relationship with my mom, like everything makes sense to me now when I'm on stage. Yeah. Being able to connect with people, and I don't care if it's one person. I did a show when it was nobody there, just me and the person that booked me. And at first I was like, I don't want to do this. This sucks. This doesn't make sense. But I said, you know what? He's still gonna pay you. Get up there and perform. And I did. And I got something from it. And that's at that moment I knew that comedy isn't about delivering. It's about receiving for me. So for that reason, it's deeper than just being on stage. It's deeper than just me being a comic. Sure. Like I want a connection with people. I want people to say, I saw something in me in her. I don't care if you're white, black, Indian, I want somebody to be able to get something from me because I'm getting something from you.
Yeah. Would you say that has helped you connect with people now when you're off stage? Like now that you've been on stage and performed for years?
I'm so weird though. I'm weird. I'm so antisocial. I'm socially antisocial. I'm a loner. Like I get freaked out like one-on-one stuff. I'm like, oh, they want to talk. Oh my God.
Oh, so it's good that there's three of us.
I'm so weird, but I love people.
Yeah.
So if you bring in something to me that is going to teach me something, is going to educate me, I love mind stimulation. So, I'm weird.
Yeah.
So I think comedy has definitely allowed me to be more outgoing and express myself more to people just chilling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm weird.
Did either of your parents see you perform?
Yeah. Well, my dad, I think he saw me perform once. And that's because we're just now rekindling our relationship. My mom, when I first told her that I was doing comedy, she was like, why? You're not funny. And it was because of our relationship. And I love for her to tell the story of me telling her, hey, Mom, I think I'm going to try comedy. She was like, well, why? Me and your grandma don't think you're funny. She threw my grandmother in there. I don't know why. And I didn't get mad because I knew where she was coming from. She was coming from the fact that her and I didn't have a relationship. Yeah. That she wanted.
Yeah.
So I just sat there and she was like, yeah, I don't know why you're doing comedy. You're not funny. So we were at like a family function. So I saw an opportunity to prove her wrong. So we started joking and, going in. She was laughing so hard that she was on the floor.
Oh,
and she apologized to me.
Oh, my God.
She was like, I'm so sorry. You're right. I didn't realize how funny you are. I didn't realize how, and I always knew that I could tell a story. like once people started telling me, you know, I didn't know comedy was it, but I knew that I could like get the party together, get the party started. But she was like, so now my mother's like my biggest supporter. She tells me every day, you're going to Hollywood. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to get emotional. I get like a little upset when she says that. Because I kind of feel like, how? You know?
Yeah.
I kind of feel like how.
How are you going to get there?
Yeah.
How are you going to do it?
Yeah, I know I shouldn't ask how because, you know, God knows how. But I just feel like, don't say that. Like, just, I'm fine where I am. Like, don't, even though I would love to, but when she gasses it up, it bothers me. It bothers me.
It's a mom thing.
There is something prophetic about it, though. You know, like once you say it and put it into existence,
I know,
sometimes things happen.
but sometimes the grind be so like, I remember going over to George Washington Bridge with no money, no gas, going to the Broadway Comedy Club, thinking like, what the freak are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, you just go after your dream and you're like, what am I doing? Am I crazy?
Oh my gosh.
Because it messes up like your social life, your dating life. I can't go to any events because I'm always just trying to make this comedy game work for me. It's just so much.
Yeah. No, it's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah.
Like, nobody wants to date the comedian girl.
It makes you anxious. It makes you paranoid. It makes you second guess or doubt what you're doing almost every day. But it, like, is something, would you say is something you would regret if you didn't go at it this hard?
Oh, I don't know no other way. I like being this crazy. Yeah. I like being not available for people to go to their functions. Don't get
it wrong, guys.
Right.
Yeah.
But I love it. I love grinding and I love waking up, in the morning tired because I just killed the show. I love dragging myself into my 9-to-5 job. Like, oh my God, I'm so tired. Like, I love it. What else would I be doing?
Yeah, there's something to like the like that feeling of tiredness is like it's like it reminds me that like, I'm alive and it's reminding me that I'm doing the thing. Like I'm tired for a reason because like it feels good to hustle and it feels good to work.
Let me tell you something. When I go to work after a long night of comedy, I could be dead tired and like looking at my paper like over and over again. But I love the fact that I just did something on stage. It's so that's something to me.
Yeah, when you're going up for a set, like when do you usually start feeling the excitement? Is it like on the way up there? Is it like once you're like in the
I agonize it all that day. Yeah, that whole day.
Yeah.
I don't like to talk on the phone if I have a show because I don't like to have any deep conversations. Matter of fact, sometimes I start agonizing maybe like the week before. When I see the crowd, I agonize I'm better. Once I was able to get my set together, I'm more I don't stress as much, but I still agonize about the show because you don't know the crowd. Every crowd is different.
Yeah.
You know, some jokes don't work in other places. You know, when I see the crowd, I gotta be like, all right, I'm not gonna do this joke. Like one of my best jokes is about my son being in prison. I can't do that everywhere because everyone doesn't relate.
Yeah.
Like I did it one time at a Jewish function and they were like, no. No. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I've learned to, it's like a puzzle. You know, when I get to the room, that's why I always come early. I will never come, when comedians come late, that drives me crazy. I come early and I look at the crowd and I like to watch the crowd because I'm going to throw a little bit of crowd work. I'm going to throw some 90% joke, 10% crowd work, and then I mix it all together.
That's your breakdown. How was it exploring crowd work in the beginning?
I was the worst because I'm very sensitive.
How did you? Yes. What did you have to like tweak or?
I had to be bold. I used to when I first started doing comedy, if you said something to me in the crowd, I would get off the stage like you won. You won.
Oh,
I'm out.
Wow.
But
that
now
surprises me. You exude such confidence.
I'm the biggest baby. I'm the biggest baby. If a person sat in the front row instead of going back and forth with me, I'll be like, no, I'm gonna kill this guy. I'll get so upset. Yeah. My other friend who's a comedian, she would have to jump in. And when it's her turn to do comedy, she would have to get in and be like, why did you say that about my friend? And she would get up for me. Because I was like, but I've learned that the crowd actually likes that. So I've learned. And some people come to comedy shows so they can get picked on.
True. Yep. And they're waiting for it. They're just like putting the lure out there, and if you don't bite, then they get even madder.
Right. So I had to learn that because I thought they were fucking with me. Like, why are you sitting in the front row attacking me. I thought it was personal. And then I said, oh, he wants it. Yeah. He wants the business. Women don't do that. We don't do that. We don't mess around in conversation. We mind our business.
Yes.
Like, you guys suck. Yeah. Because you want it.
It's because they want attention. They want to show that, like, I'm not the person you paid for, but yet you're all going to be paying attention to me.
You know what?
You guys and mama boys don't have enough attention from home, so now you get attention.
Why bring the mother into it?
I don't like to see people attack at shows. I don't like when comedians freaking dog out a person. I don't.
That changes the air in the room immediately.
I don't like that. Yeah. No. Like, I'll get you, but you don't even know you're getting got. Like, I'll get you, and you be like, did she just get me?
Yeah.
Like, you're not sure.
Right.
And then after the show, I'll come over and smooth it over. You know, I was joking, right?
Yeah. Because, like, you're, like, as, like, the stand-up, like, you're the person who's in control of the tone of the room, and, like, and the audience is almost, like, looking to you to be the one to, like, in a way, like, you're the teacher of a classroom of students. Like, you're, like, the one who's, like, leading where we go with this. And if you, like, and when comics go off at someone, everyone's just like, okay, so, like, is, like, this still a comedy show? Like, I'm not really sure. Like, and, like, you have to be able to, like, maintain the power, but also be able to, like, remind everyone, hey, like, we're still here to laugh and, like, have a comedy show.
I saw Jordan Rock, which is Chris Rock's brother, Tony Rock's brother. I went to go see him at Lovely Live, and he said, bitches, this lady stood up and went the freak off. You hear me? I mean, she stood up and was like, no. And she, like, ripped him for, like, a whole 10 minutes. Jeez. And I felt bad because he was like, lady, like, it's a joke. Sit down. Like, lady. And she was so upset. And my thing is this. At a private gig, you really watch what you say. You know what I'm saying? Because this is your guest, right? Yes. At a private gig.
True.
You're coming to a comedy show. You don't get to tell me what to say. I say what the freak I want to say. You bought a ticket to come and see me.
Yes.
So I just think that comics have to learn that there's a difference and be confident in that.
Yeah.
That's true. That's definitely an essential piece.
Yes.
I feel like you're gonna have a residency somewhere and be picking off people in Monique's weekly show very soon.
I received that in the atmosphere. You know, there's so many places that I would like to get to, and I just, you know, I'm just trying to figure it out, you know, Like, I want to get out to Vegas. You know, I want to get out to New Orleans. I want to go back out to California. And because I really believe that if they like you here, they'll like you wherever you go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I can't wait to introduce myself to some of these people.
Yeah, well, I think going back to what you were saying before, too, it's like it's the connection thing, right? It's like if you could find a way to, like, bridge the connection between you and a complete stranger, like, that's, like, the job right there, right? And, like, that's why I think, to your point when you were saying how some jokes don't work in certain rooms, it's because you're like if they have no concept of how to connect to this, it's like, it's hard to be able to find a way to, like, in just the content of a joke, get them to understand something that they can't even fathom about.
And people like who they like.
Yeah.
You know, people like who they like, the different styles, they like the different, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I have to keep that in mind too, because I'm a little loud on stage. You know, I'm a little loud. But I like being loud.
Yeah.
I like being loud.
And clearly people like you being loud too, so.
Like, I like being loud.
Otherwise they wouldn't give you a microphone.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes I say, you know what, just go on stage and be calm. And relax and whisper. Nah. When I hear that music, and even when I do shows and there's no music, because sometimes you do shows and there's no music. And I notice that a lot in New York. There's not always a DJ. In Jersey, there's always music. That's the difference between a paid, like a private gigs and sometimes the open mics too. Yeah. You get so used to the music amping you up that you don't really know when to cue your own self. So that's all things that, you know, comics have to learn. And a lot of times how you start is how you know. So I just like to be experienced in all type of platforms. Sometimes you do a comedy show and there's no music. They just ain't coming to the stage. It's, Monique, you're next. Yeah. And it's like you have to find the energy. So, you know, I'm still learning. Yeah.
Are there, like, certain things that you, like, haven't like really delved into that you really want to, like, other like interests you have, or things that you've like always seemed like a cool idea, but you just haven't tried it yet?
Well, I love motivational speaking. That's my thing. I think I actually, when I was a kid, I really wanted to do that too, because I like seeing people follow their dreams. I like to know how you got to this point. I like to know what inspired you, what motivated you. what discouraged you? Let's talk about it. And I like to share some of the things that I've experienced because I don't believe that people should carry the pain of what they've been through. I think that your pain is so that you can teach others and show others. So I'm a big fan of motivational speaking.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why do you think
I just feel better sitting here.
I know. She has to give a motivational speech about motivational speeches.
Can I ask you a personal question?
Sure.
Because you said you were reconnecting with your dad.
Yes.
After how many years?
He's a teenager. He was 17 when my mom got pregnant with me. And, we just didn't have a relationship. He was around, and I would say maybe once every year, once every 2 years. But as I got older, I found out the real story. There's always the real story.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so important for people to find out the real story. My father's a cool dude.
Yeah.
Oh, I love who he is. I wouldn't change a thing. I don't know how different I would be if he had raised me. I kind of like the fact that we have this relationship where there's no drama. I'm not bringing up old stuff. He's not bringing up old stuff. He's not mad at me. I'm not mad at him.
Yeah.
And we can kind of walk into the next, chapter of our lives together. I kind of like that because when I was younger, in my 20s, he can kiss my whole ass. My whole ass.
Yeah, asking for personal advice. Yeah.
Yeah, he can kiss
asking
my whole butt.
Because how do you do that? How do you work through that though? Because for my
what?
dad, I haven't also seen my mom. Just to give background, just because I'm asking for a reason,
Right.
I haven't reconnecting soon. I haven't seen her yet with my mom, who I haven't seen in over 10 years. So yeah, first lived with her. Then parents were divorced when we were 1 year old. Then after 10 years, lived with my dad. Then haven't seen her for so.
Yeah, and I can relate to that because I have a very dysfunctional relationship with my mom. I'm her only child. She's not married, and she drives me crazy. So I think for me, I had to say to myself, you're responsible for your life right now. They brought you into this world, Monique. They did their part. And I've learned to look at them as individuals and kind of detach myself. It's weird, but I've learned how to detach myself. Because sometimes we expect so much from people and they will never be able to provide that thing that we need. So our void, we have to find ways to fill our own voids. And one of the ways that I find is by doing comedy, encouraging other people, having the opportunity to have this conversation.
Yeah.
Because it's hard. The first guy that was ever supposed to love me was my dad. And I felt like he didn't. But the truth of the matter is he did. He did in his own way. And just because I didn't feel it, that doesn't mean that it didn't happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
Because I'm a mother now.
Yeah.
And I've been through some things with my kids. And maybe they can tell you some things about me. And I think that was the turnaround point too. Who am I to hang my parents over the fire when I did some effed up things myself? I suffer from depression. There's so many things that I can tell you. My son is in prison. I'm sure he has his issues with me. I was always crying, feeling like I was a victim. You know what I'm saying? So there's always someone that can say, well, you did this to me, you did this. So I want forgiveness, so I had to learn how to forgive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Amen.
Beautifully said.
They go hand in hand.
Yeah.
And it's just, I guess when you are a parent, you rethink your parents' perspective on things, right? How they because as much as
you can't relate up until that point.
right.
You can. Yeah, it's hard.
Actually empathize.
Yeah, when I was 20, when I was in my 30s, 20s, my parents, I was so mad at them. You ain't, I was especially my father. I was like, don't say nothing to me, don't look at me, and you didn't raise me, you didn't do nothing for me. But, another thing I wanted to share, I'll be 48 my birthday.
What the fuck?
I'll be 48 my
I
birthday.
did not. Oh my god. I thought you were 10 years younger.
I'll be 48 my birthday.
What the fuck?
With that being said, you're supposed to grow. The person that you are today, and the way you think and the way you move, it should not be the same person 10 years from now. So sometimes you just have to own where you are right now. I'm doing some crazy stuff. I'm thinking crazy. I'm mad at this person. I'm having one night stands. I'm using drugs. I'm doing this. I'm smoking. I'm doing this. Own who you are right now. But remember, as you grow and get older, some things should fall off and some maturity is supposed to kick in. And wisdom is supposed to kick in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
At almost 48 years old, I'll be silly kind of walking around still mad at my dad at 48. I'm almost 50. So that's a lot of wasted energy.
Yeah.
I don't want him to die thinking that my old ass was still mad at him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So as you grow, you're supposed to be wiser and mature. You know, back in the day when I was young, your age, I used to drink and drive drunk and do all kind of dumb shit. But now I'm like, oh my God. No, let me just have a sip. You know, you mature. You mature. So
yeah, I think it's hard because I think a lot of times like immaturity is attached to things that you do like and things that you did enjoy. Like even like going out and getting crazy. Like you have fun doing that. So that's why it's harder to get that away. Or even just like the nostalgia attached to like.
Trust me, age is going to things are gonna fall off.
Yeah.
You
Does
know.
it just tire you out?
Like I just feel like
I can't keep doing.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I love seeing wise people.
Yes.
Like when I see
so
people
true.
that are not mentally mature, that aggravates me. You're 60. Why are you having booty calls? One night stands at 60. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, like when I see somebody with their life put together, like I'm just like, I want to talk to you a little bit more.
Right.
Yeah, you figured this life thing out.
There's
I
know.
love
And they're
seeing
very
wise
calm.
people.
I was in this improv troupe or class when I was in New Orleans, and like I was maybe 21. Like I legit turned 21 in that class, and they were like, "Weren't you just drinking last week?" Like what? And then, but they were all like 30-year-olds,
Right?
And, like around that, some older, some younger.
And they make you step up, right?
Yeah, no, and it was like very maturing to be
Right.
like, oh, there's more than this partying stuff. There's more
Yes.
than this. There's more than that. Like, oh my gosh, like the stuff that they're worried about sucks. Like, I need to enjoy what I'm doing right now.
Exactly.
Like, they're so jealous of me right now, and I used to be like pissed that I have this, like, you know, like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's all about maturity, and don't get me wrong. You know, I still like to have fun. I still like to turn up.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I'm getting ready to fly out to St. Thomas to do a comedy show. I can't wait because I'm going to show my whole old 48 tail when I get out there. I'm going to be out there like I'm 21. And I may have a one night stand when I get out there.
There you go.
And I'm cool with that because
Yeah.
I'm grown. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I'm wise, but you only live once. Don't get it twisted. You only live once. So I'm not having one night stands every night. You know, but one or two more before I die is not the worst thing in the world.
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy you're gonna die.
He's like, not at all.
That's fun.
Yeah,
Wow,
I can't
everybody
wait.
is getting such a treat this episode. Whoever's listening, this motivational speaker and it all rolled up into one. I cannot. I do have one other question. You got any more banks you want to list?
Just mine. North Jersey Credit Union again.
Didn't know if you wanted to add anything to that list. Before I asked you, or not before, I wanted to also ask you, what made you go into finance?
I needed a job. I was 22. I had children to feed. And I looked in the phone book at the time and was calling every company in the phone book to see who was hiring. North Jersey Federal Credit Union said they were hiring. They were looking for a receptionist to fill in for 2 months. I got the job, and they ended up keeping me 26 years later.
Wow.
No college education, no experience in finance, struggled horribly in school. I became the head underwriter there.
Oh my God.
Underwrote for 15 years. I was a team leader. I was an MSR. I was a mortgage rep, and it was all self-taught.
That's amazing. You're very successful. Is there something you're not killing at?
But out of a class, I graduated John F. Kennedy High School in Paterson, class of 91. The class was 269 people in the class, and I was number 256. So I struggled in school. Yeah. And I still stutter, still say the wrong thing, pronounce things wrong. I'm still weird. but I always had guts. Always had guts.
Yeah.
And I didn't want that to define me.
Yeah,
You know
well,
what I
so
mean?
you tackled the real world. Though, instead of going to school and people like kind of like some people who actually go to college are still in their bubble and do not know how to adjust when they get out into the real world, where it's like, no, the bills you gotta pay. Expenses.
I'm just now going back to school. I'm just starting school this week.
Where?
I go to Berkeley, and I'm getting a bachelor's degree in entrepreneurship business.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Yes.
And it was because of my job though, and opening up my business that I wanted to teach others how to open up businesses.
Yo, okay, see, this is a very good example for people, because I've had people ask me, like, recently, they're like, oh, like, why'd you, because I went to community college and then transferred to a 4-year university in Newark, NJT. So when people are just like, oh my God, like, I can't leave my job and go back to school, or, oh, I can't, blah, 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 and, like, they think it's too late to reinvent themselves, and it's just like, listen, you're so young right now and you're telling me this. You can work for years and then go to school.
Yeah.
You can do, there's no proper, correct order, a way of doing things. You can go out of order, or your own path, or your own, So I'm just very happy that you are like, opening up so much about your experiences and your life, because there are definitely people who need
I'm scared shit though. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm not saying that goes away. No, but it's just like people think it's impossible.
Yeah.
You're so stuck in your own head, in your own world, that you do not see these other options, and it is really that hard to see it and to follow suit. But like, of course, it's nerve-wracking. Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, because
I would not want to go to.
I don't know if you think so, but I think there are a lot of people who have like a general anxiety about just like going to school in general, just because like when you're a kid.
I'm supposed to start this week, and I'm like dreading it. Like I'm excited.
Yeah.
But I'm like, can I really do this?
Oh wait, so is anything remote?
Yes, it is. It's all remote.
Oh, right. That's good.
Mm-hmm. So
well, that's nice. That's definitely.
It is, but I kind of feel like I'm really an in-class person.
Yeah.
So it's like, but I'm giving it a shot. Maybe I'll make it big before the semester's over, and I can quit school. But no, I'm joking. I'm giving it a shot.
She'll first, and then she'll make it big after the semester's over.
Yeah, when you make it big anyway, people are gonna be like, oh, and then she went to school after, and they're like, oh my God.
People lose their shit for like the people who are like really good at like a craft, like something like performing, and then they also are going to school. Like, all these actors, it's like, hey, did you know this person also went to college? And then
right. That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
They're talented and they're smart. All right.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, that's a huge mark for people. When I found out Natalie Portman was like, top of her class in Harvard, and she knew so many different languages, I was just like, all right, you're just extremely, you're just, okay, and you just did acting, because, okay, at a very young age, but it is, that's an interesting point, though. It is
like a bonus plus,
It's usually a Renaissance woman or man.
I was gonna say turn on, but
yeah,
no, it is.
Just
saying you're turning on, but you
especially since I want to be a public motivational speaker. I kind of feel like a lot of people won't book you as a motivational speaker if you don't have the credentials. So that's like one of the reasons too that I want to go back to schools, because I want to be able to get some paper behind me.
Yeah.
That's true. Because like I don't know, is there like an audition process for being a motivational speaker, or is it just like?
I think so.
Or
if you have a topic and you can articulate it, I think.
Then you should go for it.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
It's just word of
mouth. Do a TED
mouth.
Talk.
Who?
Do a TED Talk.
A TED Talk. What's that?
Monique, we gotta show you TED Talk.
Oh my gosh, you're a walking TED Talk.
Monique, you're a literal walking TED Talk.
Oh really?
Oh my God.
My son is in jail.
Wow.
No, it's a literal. No, not that. No, I'm saying. Oh my God. No, I'm saying because you're also.
They're just very deep.
You're just that person who knows how to give, makes a lecture fun. Is that the way we're putting it? Like, sometimes
that's really how I started. People started saying to me, like, oh, whenever you tell me something about your divorce, it's like you made it funny. Like,
Yeah. You have that combination where it's like you deliver insightful information, and it's humorous, and it's deep. Like, it's all of that. It's never just like, it's definitely not boring. Yeah. It's never like...
I want to talk more about politics, though. That's the only topic in comedy that I haven't really
Really?
Dodge. And I mean, I have one joke in about politics, but I want more. Because I want to do corporate.
Do you have like stuff that you want to say, or is there a topic?
I just want to. I don't follow it. You know, I didn't do good in history, so I don't follow it.
Yeah. To be fair, it's also like really frustrating to follow in general, just because like you're like watching these things happen, and it feels like very like.
Oh my God! During Trump's
depressing, I guess, to say the least.
I stopped watching the news and watching politics during Trump's presidency for that reason, because it was just so much.
But I also think that Trump gave people so much to talk about too. Yeah. Like now nobody's talking about politics. I don't hear it.
Yeah, no, that's so weird because like there's like weeks that go by and I'm like, oh, I haven't really thought about Biden in a while.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, because like he's kind of doing what a lot of people wanted, which is like again like returning to the status quo and like having things happen, but just like being much subtler.
I want to talk about it some more. Yeah. Like bring back Trump. I want to tease him some more. You know.
Yeah. Well, that's why. But John Oliver.
No.
Oh, well, he also started as was he a stand-up? Right?
Yeah.
A comedian in Britain. And he said he has a show, but it's like Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. That's what it's called. But that's where I go. He does news, but like, actually, I was going to say humorous, but like some of it's really deep and depressing.
Pandemic stuff was a little, it was hard.
It's a lot of hard topics to keep uplifting. But anyway, I go there for watching because you're just talking about politics and not like really, watching it a lot. So I just go to YouTube and watch those videos and absorb it. Is there any other source, like online, Twitter, like any other platform you do look more for news and politics?
I just, every night, you know what I like? I like dog videos. They inspire me. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Just seeing how dogs interact and removing that fear, I don't know, it does something to me.
Yeah.
I feel like they make me more creative. So every night, I get in my bed, I pull up my laptop, and I'm watching dog videos, and I get my inspiration.
If only they incorporated politics into those videos.
Right.
To tell yourself wildly.
Right.
Yeah. Just need more debates with dogs. Dog debates for sure.
I love dog videos.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Do you have any pets, or do you
I have a grandpup.
Oh.
Yeah, my daughter has a puppy. Well, she's gonna be one. Is that one? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 7 in dog years, I guess. So yeah.
And then I have a cat, a grand cat. It's not mine, but
right.
And then my neighbor's dog likes me too. And deer's around my house.
And the birds.
And
Yeah,
the squirrels.
So I feel like I'm like I live in Jurassic Park or something.
Yeah. Do you generally like animals though? Like,
yeah. Did you ever grow up with any?
I'm not the coochie crunch animal lover, but for some reason dogs like me now.
It's your energy.
Like dogs just walk up to me and just like want to lick me, like. And this never happened before. Yeah, dogs used to growl at me. Like my ex-husband had a dog, and whenever me and him would argue, it would like growl at me and make me get on top of the bed and cry.
Oh.
Yeah, but now when dogs see me, they like, hi.
Yeah.
And this is weird.
Do you like them more than you used to like them?
You know what? I think what it is that I think I'm more calmer inside, and dogs can smell that.
Yes.
So I think before I was a lot more, oh my God. But now I think my spirit I just kind of relax my spirit on the inside.
Yeah.
And it helps with anxiety. Because I suffer from anxiety. So there's times that I have to sit and I have to coach myself like I'm giving birth. Like just breathe and push. Breathe and push,
Yeah.
And it helps.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess like it's like hard to like immediately address that sometimes. So it's like very important to be able to like analyze, because like it's like when you have anxiety, you have to be able to analyze when you're in a situation that you can either control, and if not, you need to be like, all right, I have to just like find any way to get my body and my mind to just like come down all the way down.
What helps me is knowing that I got through it already.
Yeah. Like
you had an anxiety attack last week. You made it through. It's not going to kill you. Yeah. So you're fine. Are you alive? Are you okay? Are you safe? Once I realize that I'm safe, then I just have to say, just feel what you feel. I have to remind myself, you're upset, feel it. Your boyfriend just broke up with you, feel it. It hurts. But you're not allowed to cry more than 2 days. One, by the second day, wrap it up. And that's what I do. Wrap it up. I don't care what it is.
Did you have any mentors in your life that like really kind of like, would you say like are kind of responsible for like minds that you have? Yeah.
Everyone. Your questions. Everyone is my mentor. I take things from everyone. The earth is my mentor. You know, I used to be the type of person to bank on just one, but sometimes your mentor can disappoint you because what they're preaching is not what they're practicing. So I promise myself that everyone that I come in contact with, I'm going to be able, even if it's a look, even if it's a saw or whatever it is, what can you get from each person that you come in contact with? That is your mentor.
Wow.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well said.
I think that might be a good place to.
I don't think you get better than that. The world's your mentor, guys, and Monique said it. Thank you, Monique. Thank you for being on this podcast and for all your wisdom and for everything you brought to us today. So, do you want before we?
Oh yes, because you have 8 on your list of banks.
She's still going, trying to get these banks out. I work at a credit union.
You're not at the lowest. Yeah, you're
Brendan,
not.
No, I wasn't. I was just announcing it for whoever's listening because people follow the challenge. But Brendan was just asking because he pointed to this. Did you not?
I did. It's true.
You looked at it. You brought it up.
Well, let me ask you guys a question. Do you guys know the difference between a credit union and a bank?
No.
Good question.
No?
Please explain that.
No.
Okay, so credit unions are not for profit and banks are. Credit unions have lower interest rates and banks have higher interest rates. Credit unions are more community service oriented and banks is basically as is. You have good credit or you don't. You know? So that's the biggest difference between credit unions and banks is that we cater to the community a little bit more. So we care about your credit score. We care about, can you really afford the mortgage? Can you really afford the car? Whereas a bank, if you can't afford it, we're going to repossess it. You're going to go into foreclosure, file bankruptcy. They don't care. So that's really the biggest issue is that we kind of care.
Damn, that's so interesting because I feel like growing up, you're always geared to be like, oh, when you get older, you're gonna have a bank account, and like they put like a lot of emphasis on the bank account as opposed to like having other options because so it doesn't feel, it feels like it's inevitable that you're gonna end up at a bank.
You gotta have everyone, and I'm not saying that you should have a credit union in a substitute of a bank. You should have both.
Yeah.
You should have your bank. But you should, because it's always good to have options.
Yeah.
When you're buying a house, when you're buying a car, you're looking for interest rates. You're looking for who has the bottom line is who has the lowest interest rate. And just the key, you want to take care of who takes care of you. So if wherever you bank, as long as they take care of you, like I know all of my clients' names. They all, like I've been in banking so long, I know their voices when they call. Like I take care of my customers. So they take care of me. You know what I'm saying? So every morning I get up, I'm like, all right, we're going to have a good day. We're going to open up some accounts. We're going to bring some new people into the credit union. And the universe understands that. They get it. So that's why I've been there so long.
Wow.
You're so cute.
This has just been so motivational for us.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm glad.
One of my favorite episodes.
I'm glad. Sometimes I feel like I'm too deep, though. That's why I have to draw a line between my motivational speaking and my comedy. Because sometimes I feel like I don't want to be too deep where people don't get it. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's so important for me when I go on stage. If I'm doing my comedy, I need to be coming with the jokes, making you laugh. Because I know that when I'm talking serious, like I don't want to get people so like, but we got to think about credit. We got to think about finances.
Yeah.
You got to think about savings and having an emergency savings account. That's so important to be able to, if your car breaks down, you don't have to say, hey, can I borrow money to get my new tires? Yeah. Can I borrow money to pay my rent? As adults, we should be able to handle these things. So it's important to me. And the only reason I'm passionate about it is because years I wasn't. For years I wasn't. Comedy has allowed me to save and have an emergency fund. So don't let the system use you. You use the system.
Yes.
Wow.
F yeah.
Powerful.
We don't even have to break down the system. We could even use it.
Use it. Use it. Don't abuse it. Use it.
Monique, do you want to plug anything else or remind our listeners about the big birthday bash that you have coming up?
Yeah, and I want to say really quick, thank you for the interviews. Great interview. I loved your questions. I have a Tuesday podcast that I do every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. called The Real Funny Truth Podcast. I just started it, so I'm new to the podcast community, but I'm excited about it. We talk about relationships. We talk about career. We talk about very little gossip, but I like to talk about like questions that make you think, parent. We talk about, relationships with our parents and kids, and do you want to have kids? So I find my platform to be very just everyday stuff. The Real Funny Truth Podcast. And you can find me on YouTube, and then I'm also on Facebook every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. And then I have my birthday party coming up, July 30th. What else I have coming up? I'll be in St. Thomas. Next Friday, I have a show in St. Thomas. And hopefully I'll be at a comedy club near you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. This is really amazing.
Thanks, guys, for